Hello and welcome to another video. In this tutorial, we're breaking down a project inspired by Zero, particularly his tracks Try and Escape and Lyrically Ill. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. And don't forget, the project file, presets and samples are available from my Bandcamp, linked in the description. I use a few free plugins in this tutorial and I'll link these below as well. Our BPM is 140 and we're in the key of G Phrygian dominant or F sharp harmonic minor, but I used my ear and mostly went off vibes for this project. Let's start with the kick. It's short and punchy, weighty without muddying the sub-frequencies of the basses. The drums are full of groove and movement. There are two beats cut from the beginning of the loop, as Zero does in the first drop for Try and Escape. I've not seen this exact technique before. It's a bit like a momentary fake out drop. This is the clap and snare group. The reverse clap accents certain claps. And the snare has a funky triplet roll at the end of the phrase. Next we have the high perks. We've got some closed hats. And there are these triplet closed hats for groove. These are in a drum rack together and a choke group to tighten them. Then we have an offbeat hat layered with a shaker. The perk one-shots are comprised of a go-go, perk and whistle samples. In Try and Escape, Zero uses almost Latin-inspired perks, so I've done my best to emulate this. I've tuned as many of the samples as I'm able to, but it's crucial to tune the pitch percussion, like the agogo and whistle. There's sidechaining on the perks group using the kick as a trigger. Finally, the perk loops act as glue, binding the drum elements together. I noticed some short repeating 1 bar long perks in Try and Escape, which inspired my approach with perk loop 1. Although I think overall the drums sound more like the housey vibe of Lyrically Ill. We also have this flanger on perk loop 2 for a bit of movement. On the perk loops group, there's wider, since the perks in Try and Escape are very wide. And this is reflected in the general panning for lots of elements in the drums group, and there's more side chaining. I've applied this two-step groove to everything in the drums group, aside from the clap reverses for a triplet UKG flavoured swing. And on the group, there's a few tweaked presets with saturation, drum bus, EQ, and a limiter with soft clip enabled. Reverb is applied via Send. This is the reverb soloed, and for this project I'm using the basement preset. The reference tracks are pretty dry, so I've tried to capture this with minimal application of shorter reverbs. Next we have the basses. Starting with this FM main patch. Oscillator A uses this add seconds wavetable tuned 2 octaves down. A's wavetable position is being modulated by LFO1, which is on envelope mode. Oscillator B is a sine wave tuned 2 octaves up and then pulled down by 8 semitones. Zero's bass in Try and Escape has this 4th harmony and it's essential to the sound. I've taken the level of oscillator B down a little. Both oscillators run into this low pass filter with its cutoff being modulated by LFO3. Again, it's on envelope mode. And there's drive and fat to warm things up. The sub is also active and it's a sine wave taken down by 2 octaves, but it bypasses the filter. The amp envelope is shaped like a pluck. In the effects, there's overdrive, adding mid-range harmonic density. Then we have an EQ with a wide peak around 400 Hz that's modulated by LFO3. So we're boosting mids with the LFO, and we're also boosting highs. Hyper adds some motion, as does the chorus. Then we have a utility monoing below 400 Hz to ensure mono compatibility. You may have clocked the pitch wobbling on the patch, and that's because both LFOs 1 and 2 are modulating the main tuning. This creates a slight ghostly quality. On the channel, there's an EQ. Next, we have the distorted warper. Again, we're using the add seconds wavetable, and oscillator A settings are similar to the previous patch. Again, A is running into a low pass filter with drive and fat to thicken. LFO1 is modulating the cutoff using a simple upward ramping envelope shape. The amp envelope is very snappy, so even though the patch has a lot of distortion and movement later in the chain, the amplitude stays tight and percussive. In the effects, there's distortion and EQ with a boost around the upper mids. Then there's another distortion, this time using downsampling, which adds some digital grit and texture. Then there's another filter, again with its cutoff modulated by LFO1. The mix knob has also been taken down. Below that, you've got a second EQ, again with another boost. This helps the sound cut through the mix. On the channel, there's an EQ, since the lows were a bit too prominent. This patch keeps it simple at the oscillator stage, then relies heavily on filter movement and a layered stack of distortions and EQs to create a gritty, forward driving tone. And finally, there's the dropper. Again, we're using the add seconds wavetable, and LFO1 is modulating both the wavetable position and the filter's cutoff. LFO2 is also modulating the filter's cutoff. In the effects, there's distortion. And in the matrix, we can see that LFO2 is modulating the main tuning. On the group, there's monoing utility, EQ, a multiband compressor compressing just the sub-frequencies, parallel compression, limiter, and sidechaining using the kick as a trigger. The sidechaining isn't just for technical reasons, it's a feature of the main bass in Try and Escape, and there's a very small amount of reverb applied via send A. The effects, etc. group contains sirens, stabs, and transitions. First, we have the siren. If you'd like to learn how to make this sound, or you want a free copy of the preset, check out my special request video, which I'll link on the screen and in the description. I've added Izotope Vinyl and use the warp function to create some pitch drift. Vinyl is free and also adds a bit of saturation. And then there is an EQ. Next, we have the aux stabs. I've used Simple Hit, another free plugin, and I also used this in my recent Sammy Vergy video. In Try and Escape, Zero uses horn stabs, so I'd recommend experimenting with these as well. I've used a shifter to frequency shift this sound down by an octave. And then there's an EQ. Next we have the rest of the effects. Notice how these are all at the end of the phrase. Let's mute the group. On the group, there's saturation, EQ, chorus, sidechaining, and reverb via A. Finally, we have the Vox.
Yeah, sucker free. Yeah, sucker free. Yeah, nah. Sucker free.
The main vocal is a hip-hop vocal chop or ad-lib. Don't forget about the jungle time stretch version at the end of the phrase. Make sure you use the texture algorithm to recreate this technique and the ×2 functionality. Then we've got the yeah and nah samples to add some rhythmic variation. These are very dry, so no delays or reverbs. But the vocals are processed with subtle saturation, EQ, chorus, sidechaining, and a little bit of reverb via A. And that's the project. If you found this breakdown useful, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Free.